Erev Tov and Bruchim Habayim. Here we go again. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 24th Annual Banquet of the Young Israel of Century City. I am proud to be your Master of Ceremonies for the evening, and I'm certain that each one of you will have a most enjoyable time tonight. There will be great food, music, comedy, and speeches. Lots and lots of speeches. Tonight we are pleased to honor a most deserving couple, our esteemed past president and his wife, Dr. Emmanuel Gottlieb and Jenny Lewcowicz, our Tribute Award honorees. Their devotion to our shul in particular, and to countless worthwhile institutions in our community and throughout the world, is an inspiration to us all. We also pay tribute to our shul's very own Kiddush Club, because of whose efforts we all not only eat well every Shabbos, but also have the chance to socialize with each other instead of talking during davening. You will, of course, hear more about our honorees throughout the evening. Since we always like to make our dinners educational experiences, if you pay attention tonight, if you pay really, really close attention tonight, you will learn the answers to the burning questions of the day. By the end of the evening, you will be able to answer, since Rabbi Abner Weiss is moving to London, is Beth Jacob taking over Young Israel? Is Mogen David congregation paying to renovate Eish HaTorah? Is the mikveh merging with Wilshire Boulevard Temple? Is Yavna taking over Hillel? That wasn't a ooh. Will the Kiddush Club start serving Persian food? And did Rabbi Muskin go on a prubba to the White House this past week? The answer to these questions and more, if you pay close attention this evening. Your attendance tonight has made this a most successful banquet, and your participation and support on behalf of our Young Israel is greatly appreciated. Before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping. I now call upon Jonas Hanelin, who will tell you about tonight's exciting auction. We also thank Alan Teichman and Ezra Pollack for all their assistance in arranging the gifts for tonight's auction. Here's Jonas.
Thank you very much. It's a raffle. Well, good evening, everybody. You basically know the drill. We have a variety of prizes to raffle off this evening. And on your table, you have a blue sheet which lists the exciting prizes. A particular note, courtesy of Brian and Tabitha Drawer, we have several nights at the Staples Center in a luxury box with a very generous donation from them. Jewelry from Debbie and Ellie Ben-Aron. So please, during the dinner, there'll be runners walking around the dinner, and buy lots of tickets, because if you don't buy, you can't win. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonas. Buy a lot of tickets and you're going to win some beautiful prizes. Thanks to Commissioner Mars, who is here with us this evening, we have a beautiful award that was sent to us from the Honorable John Ferraro, the President of the Los Angeles City Council, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the City Council. It was to have been presented tonight by Councilman Mike Fuhr. Unfortunately, he was involved in a slight accident this afternoon and was not able to join us. It gives me pleasure, though, to call upon our Honorable Chairman of the Board, Mr. Howard Lewcowicz, to make the presentation.
Emmy and Jenny, would you please join us up here? I'm a poor substitute for a member of our city council, but I'm pleased to be able to do a little bit of civic duty. And I'd just like to read to you, congratulations on celebrating the 24th anniversary of the Young Israel Century City and receiving its tribute award. Best wishes on all of your future endeavors. John Ferraro, President, Los Angeles City Council, 2000.
We also received some proclamations from Governor Gray Davis and County Supervisor Zev Yaroslavsky. This will be presented in a private ceremony to Emmy and Jenny after the banquet. And while we're at it, we'd like to thank all the people at California Litho Arts for all the printing and all the assistance they provide our shul. Thank you very much. As always, one of the highlights of our banquet is the announcement of the Keter Shem Tov awardee. You will hear more about that award in just a moment. However, I must tell you, contest rules stipulate that one cannot be eligible for the Keter Shem Tov if you were a contestant on Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire. Please welcome the fantastic and hardworking President of Young Israel of Century City, my dear friend, Mr. Alan Schoenfeld, who will announce the awardee.
Let me read it first. Young Israel of Century City Keter Shem Tov Award presented to Dr. George and Grace Fox in recognition and appreciation for their untiring efforts, commitment, and leadership. March 12, 2000, 5 Adar Sheni, 5760, Elazar Muskin Rabbi, Alan Schoenfeld, President.
We hope you'll enjoy the party favors. Those are beautiful aprons with the Young Israel logo. It was featured in the Hanukkah catalog of William Sonoma, and it was a closeout. So we got them at a good deal. Enjoy them, wear them, cook a lot of good things in it. We don't usually welcome people as a rule, but we want to give a special Shalom Aleichem and Baruch Rofei Cholim. Who here knows who Uncle Fishy is? Uncle Fishy is back tonight. He is recuperating from severe heart surgery. This is his first time out. We've been missing him in shul, and we welcome you to the banquet, and we hope to have you back in shul. Gesundheit. Hate. Would you all kindly find your seats? Ben? Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, the Young Israel of Century City is considered Young Israel of Century City is considered to be on the cutting edge of American Jewish culture. Whether it is our outstanding programming, our scholars in residence, you can always count on the YICC to be the trendsetters, and we are always on the lookout for strategic acquisitions or merger opportunities. We are now poised to launch a revolutionary concept and investment opportunity that will take this country by storm. In fact, next week, this offering will be introduced to the investment banking community on Wall Street, with an IPO soon to follow. All of you here tonight are fortunate to preview this exciting opportunity that we call beans, beans. They're good for your heart.
The most popular item on our Kiddish Club menu, other than scotch, is the cholent. For those of you who might not know what cholent is, it's a stew of beans, meat, potatoes, animal intestines, and who knows what else. Since inquiring minds want to know, how in the world did cholent get its name? Cholent, from the French word cholent, or from the Yiddish, shul endik. End of services on Shabbos. This is the actual definition recorded in the Encyclopedia Judaica.
We are fortunate to have our weekly cholent prepared by our very own Kiddish Club. Yeah. Some of you might ask, what exactly is a Kiddish Club? Kiddish Club, a convenient excuse to stay out of shul for half of davening. This is the actual definition recorded in the Encyclopedia Judaica.
This is the stuff we push and fight over, week in, week out. Same thing every week.
The common perception is that Meir, Baruch, and David spend countless hours enslaved in the tiny shul kitchen preparing the cholent each week. For that alone, they are most deserving of this honor tonight. In fact, here's a picture of the Kiddish Club in action preparing the cholent.
That stuff is good, isn't it? You haven't lived until you've eaten a bowl of that cholent. In fact, visitors from all over the country ask us how they can take it with them. Well, your worries are over. All right. Kiddish Club. Real food. Real fast. Hey, look at those guys. Baruch, Meir, and David. Yes, our cholent is featured at major supermarkets around the country and at Pico Glattmart.
Our product has become such a huge success that people are clamoring for it all over America. In fact, many major U.S. corporations have entered into joint ventures with our shul. Here are some of the products that feature our very own Kiddish Club cholent. Would you like a large cholent with that?
And for all of you vegetarians out there, here's our veggie cholent burger with cheese. Actually, even the meat cholent at Young Israel is often vegetarian.
Our cholent has become so popular that it's being served at some of LA's finest eateries.
And for those of you watching your weight, maybe getting a little too zaftig, you too can enjoy Kiddush with our new cholent-flavored Slim Fast.
You know when the kids come home from school and they're looking for that special treat? There's nothing like a snack pack. Snack pack, now in that new creamy cholent flavor.
Let's be honest, we're lucky to have a cholent every week. But some shuls simply can't afford to have cholent every week. Well, here's the next best thing. Cholent Lysol. A couple of quick sprays during Musaf, and everyone will think you're having cholent.
And for that most important shidduch date, let her know that you're a true shul yid. And keep that Shabbos feeling with you all night long with cholent cologne.
Cholent cologne gives a whole new meaning to the term eau de toilette.
There are actually some companies that depend on our cholent to help sell their products. Nausea, indigestion, and upset stomach. All this time you thought it was just the rabbi's drasha. Ooh. Hey, comedy is not pretty, okay?
Ready? Viagra. You take this when you're in the mood. Sholagra. You take this when you're not.
So what do you think Jenny serves her cats? And for our other four-legged friends, cholent treats. They're soft and chewy, but they're still pure cholent. Cholent ham and cheesers for the dog in your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the unique binding properties of our cholent make it the material of choice for repairing those nasty potholes. Remember all the rain over the past couple of weeks? This particular pothole is located in the alley right behind the shul. The rain's really created a bad one here. See? A little cholent, no more pothole.
In fact, if any of you recently had a cavity filled at Dr. Emmy Gottlieb's office, you'll be glad to know Emmy uses new Optibond Cholent Plus in all of his fillings. Why do you think he tells you to rinse and spit?
Now that you've seen what the potential for our product is and what a success the IPO will be, we invite you to become our partners in this venture. Log on and visit our website at www.couldyougetoutoфmywaysoicanhavesomecholent2.com.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Errol Fine told me cholent is being served tonight as the main course. Ben and I would really like to thank Jeff Cohn for all of the help he did in putting the slides together, but more so for everything that Jeff does for the shul and makes us look good. And Jeff, you're the best. It is now my pleasure to call upon Rabbi Muskin to make our presentation of our Achievement Award. Please welcome the Rabbi.
After such a presentation, I don't know what to say. But we'll try. Last weekend, we had a wonderful scholar in residence in our shul, Judge Dan Butler from Pittsburgh. During the weekend, I mentioned to the judge that this past Thursday I was going to be in Washington in the White House in the presence of the president with another 100 faith leaders fighting racism. The judge told me his own and what I consider the classical experience of a Jew meeting President Clinton. It happened a year ago. Judge Butler's oldest son, Mikey, was invited to the White House because he's a computer whiz, unfortunately stricken with cystic fibrosis, and created a system that allows children throughout the country in all different hospitals to interact via computers. The president found out about this. He took a strong interest in the program. He invited the Butlers to a star-studded event in Washington. The Butlers, Judge and Mrs. Butler and Mikey, went to Washington, and Mikey actually served as the MC at the event. Judge Butler was preparing to go to Washington to meet the president for the first time. And he was really concerned about making a Kiddush Hashem, a sanctification of God's name. So he decided, number one, he would be wearing, of course, his kippah, his yarmulke. And number two, he thought that it would be most appropriate if when he meets the president, he would say the Talmudic blessing that one says when they meet a leader. And he kept on reviewing the bracha, the blessing. And he kept on going it over in his mind, over and over and over again. Shanasan michvodo lebasar vadam. Shanasan michvodo lebasar vadam. Who has given of his honor to flesh and blood. And he kept on repeating and repeating and repeating the bracha in his mind. Immediately after the event, the president asked for a few moments alone with the Butlers. Here was his opportunity of all times. He was going to be standing with President Clinton, all alone with his wife and his son. The president walks over to Judge Dan Butler, and Judge Dan Butler can't remember the bracha. Stumped, he does what every pious Jew must do at that moment, and he says, Shahakol nehiyeh bidvaro. I don't know if that was the most appropriate response to give President Clinton. But when I think about the achievement awardees, about Meir, Baruch, and David, I don't think that there's a better bracha than Shahakol nihiyeh bidvara. If you think about it, there is more schnapps drunk because of our Kiddush Club. There is more soda drunk because of our Kiddush Club. So the bracha of choice for our Kiddush Club, even over cholent, is Shahakol nihiyeh bidvara. But this fact alone doesn't really give you a sense of their glory. And this evening, if you give me a few moments, I want to describe to you the real glory of these three special men. Yesterday in Shul, we finished the second book of the Bible, the book of Exodus, Chumash Shemos. The last parsha, the last portion of the Torah describes in Pekudei all that was donated to the building of the tabernacle in the desert. The Torah wraps it up and it says the following. Ele Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan HaEdut. These are the accountings of the Mishkan of testimony. And the rabbis note there's an oddity here in the wording. Listen again. Ele Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan HaEdut. Why the repetition of the word Mishkan? Why are you repeating the word tabernacle, tabernacle? And the Torah never repeats a word. And the rabbis note that Hebrew changes its meaning dependent upon the vowels that you put underneath the letters. Of course, Mishkan can mean tabernacle. Mishkan with other vowels can read mashkon. Mashkon means a surety, a pledge, or a bond. Both meanings are important when it comes to a synagogue. On the one hand, a synagogue is to inspire us. It's to be like the Mishkan of old. Here you encounter the divine. When you really daven, when the tears really flow, when somebody really needs a refuah, the Mishkan is the real place to be. But the Mishkan is something beyond just a Mishkan. It's a mashkon. It's a guarantee that the Jewish people will remain united. You see, it's in the synagogue that all forces come together. So you might ask, Rabbi, prove it. I will. From a story of my own life in 1984, from a country that wasn't friendly to the Jews. In February of 1984, some 16 years ago, I was sent on a mission to the then Soviet Russia, Soviet Union, as an emissary of the Rabbinical Council of America to teach refuseniks Torah. I went to Moscow, and in those days it was called Leningrad. These two cities. On that trip, actually, I met one of the greatest men I've ever met. His son and daughter-in-law are now members of our own shul. Rabbi Eliyahu Essas. Rabbi Essas was the head of the refuseniks in Moscow at the time. I went to the Moscow shul. This was in the height of anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union. I went to the Moscow shul. Anybody who was there during this period knows that there were only a very few Jews who went to that magnificent building. They davened, like every shul, but then there was something special. After davening, they had their own little Kiddush club. That was their mashkon, their guarantee that Jews would come Shabbos in and Shabbos out to share good and bad, to worry about the future, and to make sure that the Soviet Jewry would not disappear. You see, ladies and gentlemen, there are two elements to a shul. There is the spiritual, that's the Mishkan. Ele Pikudei HaMishkan. But read the next word as Mashkan. It guarantees the future of our Jewish people. It wasn't by accident that under the tenure of our honoree, Dr. Emmy Gottlieb, he was president at the time, that we had both gone to a convention here in LA on synagogue programming. We came back from that convention and we said, we have to do something. The conference led us to realize it's not enough just to have a shul. You have to have a social element to the shul as well, Shabbos in and Shabbos out. So Emmy and I came back to the board some 3 years ago. We decided we're going to create what we really didn't know would become the Kiddush Club. We didn't know how to do it. We suggested maybe a caterer would be hired to cater week in, week out a Kiddush, basic Kiddush, so that the shul would become a mashkon as well. Well, at that meeting, one of our board members was Mayor Brunel. Mayor had a different idea. Mayor's a creative thinker. And Mayor said, no, you don't hire any caterer. That's not the way we're going to do it here. We're going to do it as follows. This is going to become a Kiddush club. And these are the rules. Number one, no women in the kitchen. Only men. You can clap. It's a great idea. No women. Mayor said, why? They have too much to do already. We got to carry the burden. And number two, we're going to have to make sure that everybody donates so that it doesn't become a burden financially to the shul. These two rules, Mayor has lived by. Women have never been cited, for good reasons, I suppose, in the Young Israel of Century City kitchen. And number two, I'm proud to tell you that at that meeting he said, we need everybody to pitch in $200. And Mayor will testify, the first check was from myself and Ruchama. We're proud members of the Kiddush Club. But Mayor has great ideas. but he's not the greatest cook. So he needed help. So God has his ways. God sent me a message. The message came via a telephone call. Lisa Sokol, Mrs. Sokol calls up, and she says, Rabbi, is it true that you're starting a Kiddush club at Young Israel of Century City, and you're going to be cooking, the men are going to be cooking every Shabbos? I said, yes, Mrs. Sokol, that is true. She says, I got a favor from you, to ask from you. I said, Mrs. Sokol, what could be the favor? What could I do for you? She says, I have a retired husband at home. Rabbi, do you know what it's like to have a retired husband at home? I said, no, I don't. She says, but do me the favor, please, hire him to start cooking. So now we have two. We have Mayor and we have David. But that's not enough. No, that's not enough. You have to get a third. Holy Trinity. You need a third. So, suddenly joins the Littmans at the Young Israel of Century City. After 1 week in shul, I couldn't find Baruch in davening. He was already in the kitchen. He was helping Meir and David. And suddenly, it evolved. And it wasn't just a small Kiddush. Then there were the nice Kiddushim. There was the Simchas Torah luncheons with Baruch and David's famous meat. And that's how it all evolved. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to be the rabbi of a great Kiddush club. They don't only understand the meaning of Mishkan, they do understand the meaning of Mashkan. And I want to ask at this time, the Trinity, Mayor, Baruch, David, would you please come up so I can make a presentation? In deciding what we would get Mayor, Baruch, and David, we decided it had to be something that represents our feelings for what they have done for us. And we decided that we would get it stucco box in the shape of a house. They have turned our shul into a home where people come and enjoy themselves. They have turned the Mishkan into a real mashkan. And therefore we have a beautiful tzedakah box mounted on the following inscription: Young Israel of Century City Achievement Award presented to and to each of the three men. March 12, 2000, 5 Adar 2nd, 5760. Ladies and gentlemen, our Kiddush Club.
Look, I came prepared. Rabbi, thank you for taking about half of my speech, so that'll help out everybody this evening. On behalf of the proprietors of the Kiddush Club, Baruch, David, and I would like to thank you for recognizing our efforts on behalf of our shul for the past 3 years. As you know, we are just volunteers, not caterers by any stretch of the imagination. We have thought of changing our name to No Expectations Kiddush Club. What you see is what you get. Since our Balabatim expect so little from us, whatever we do is greatly appreciated, and for this we thank you. We obviously do not work alone. There are many unsung heroes in this city who week in and week out make our weekly Kiddush the success that it is. From Jose at Ventura Kosher to Maria at Le Palais and Irma at Morgan Linens, they have Rahmanas on us, and they go the extra mile for YICC. Without the extra effort of our vendors, we as volunteers, with our own families and professions, are able to maximize our efforts through the unique and very special relationships that Young Israel of Century City enjoys. There are two special men here this evening who collectively have served our shul for over 16 years, who richly deserve to be recognized at this auspicious gathering this evening. In fact, Baruch, David, and I reluctantly accepted receiving this tribute tonight, except under one condition, that Freddie Munoz and Ramiro Hernandez share in the honoring of the Kiddush Club, and they receive our recognition this evening. These gentlemen are the backbone of the Kiddush Club, from food preparation, setup, and cleanup. You cannot possibly put a monetary value on their commitment and devotion to seeing that our shul operates smoothly and efficiently on a weekly basis. We are all proud to work alongside with Freddie and Ramiro. We laugh, we cry, we cook, and we produce for the shul we call ours. I would now like Freddie and Ramiro to step forward to receive their Special Service Recognition Awards. Presented by Young Israel of Century City, in grateful recognition of your outstanding service, March 12, 2000. Thank you. We know our rabbi well, and obviously facts can somehow get distorted. Yes, Emmy and Rabbi did attend an event which talked about the socialization of the shul. You know, we were the only shul in America at this time that didn't have a weekly Kiddush. And when Emmy came back and proclaimed, hey, a light just went off, I said, geez, what a novel idea. And before I went to that board meeting, I said to Emmy, we're going to start a Kiddush club. Obviously, we need to neutralize a certain amount of right arm handling that was occurring in the back area for a couple of years. And so we had to legitimize ourselves. So we said, hey, look, we're going to start this thing on 3 conditions. One, that we call our unofficial catering effort the Kiddush Club. That only the men of the shul participate in running the weekly Kiddush. And 3, that our Kiddushim are not dry. Every member will have an opportunity to make a proper l'chaim. On these basic tenets were we formed, and under Emmy and Jenny's leadership, we flourished. We, of course, had our critics, especially those who were concerned that we were taking business away from local caterers. Emmy continued to wield a tremendous amount of behind-the-scenes clout, which enabled us to expand to a level we never imagined. It's hard arguing with your dentist when he has a drill in his hand and the subject of shul matters are being discussed. The only response of a member in this compromising position is, That's what Emmy did for us, and I can't tell you how often he supported our efforts and let us make sure we could do what we had to do. Jenny, on the other hand, has always been a major creative force behind our look, our style, and our recipes. Jenny and her sister Rita designed our colorful absolute aprons, with absolute spelled with the letter E, and tonight's special banquet apron, which you have before you. And I wish I had a glass, but let us now raise the glass and wish a heartfelt Kiddush Club Mazel Tov and L'chaim to Emmy and Jenny. L'chaim. My son Sammy recently approached me for help with the agonizing annual mitzvah fair project at school. His class subject were mitzvahs pertaining to Shabbos. Sammy came up to me one day and said, "Dad, I want to do my mitzvah fair project about the Kiddush Club." I, of course, was mildly amused. I said, "Sammy, what is the mitzvah of Kiddush Club? You need a mitzvah." You'll love his response. "First, Dad, Kiddush Club helps our shul members perform the mitzvah of making Kiddush every Shabbos." Okay, not bad. "Secondly, Dad, Kiddush Club helps the guys perform the mitzvah of making l'chaim whenever possible." "And third, and probably the most important, Dad, I can perform the mitzvah of helping my father perform a mitzvah each week by helping you with the Kiddush." Then I got a little technical with him. "But Sammy, when is this mitzvah performed?" "Oh, Dad, that's easy. Kiddush Rishon occurs during the Haftarah, and Kiddush Sheni after Rabbi Muskin makes Kiddush." Kiddush clubs recently made international news this last week in the most recent edition of the Jewish Daily Forward. In a front-page article entitled, "It's Time, Laddies, for a Wee L'chaim," the article's first two paragraphs read as follows: "Gentlemen, fill up your glasses. In the continuing battle over whether sherry-aged single malt scotch, the favorite libation of many, quote, Kiddush clubs of Orthodox synagogues, is kosher, the pro-Scotch camp is claiming a victory of sorts. The Israeli town of Efrat, an important redoubt of modern Orthodoxy, is being declared safe for Scotch, after its chief rabbi, Shlomo Riskin, reversed himself on the question of whether sherry-aged single malt Scotch is allowed." The article further describes the Kiddush Club movement as loose gatherings of individuals, usually men, who meet during services to raise a glass together. I mention this article to illustrate the attention Kiddush clubs are drawing around the world. While our members clearly have a passion for red, black, blue, and gray, with a stronger passion for 18 and 25-year-olds, Scotch, not women, we're realistic, we are about much more than just making a l'chaim. Our Kiddush Club is in many ways improperly named, for the club reference implies exclusivity and a degree of elitism. This is far from the truth at our shul. Granted, making a l'chaim is a means to an end, but our Kiddush Club is about inclusion, not exclusion. Everyone is welcome to help prepare, to set up, and of course share in a community-wide l'chaim. I often joke that we are making better husbands out of our members. These guys, each week, are out there performing duties that their wives could only hope to see performed at home. Our Kiddush Club is about including our youth in preparing Kiddush each week. You should see the team of boys and girls lining up to bring the sodas and the food out of the kitchen each week, or helping Freddie and Romero set up the tables and the utensils. Just this past Shabbos, a little 5-year-old girl came up to me and said, "Mayor, can I help?" And it broke my heart because we were done. And I encouraged her to come back earlier next Shabbos, and of course she could help. Our children and our members learn by our example. We roll up our sleeves, and we all work together as one community to bring to you a very affordable Kiddush that we all can take a significant pride of ownership in. I would like to just take a few more moments to recognize our members who have made a significant contribution to the Kiddush Club during the past 3 years. To our first-string reserves, Baruch, David, and I, contrary to public opinion, do have private lives, and occasionally do travel and occasionally take a weekend off. Thanks to Emmy Gottlieb, Jonas Hanlon, Robert Rhodes, and Ellie Ben Aaron, we can always turn to them to take over or help out when we have a major project. We are thankful for our sponsors. We never thought somebody would pay for the fare that we put out every week. This Shabbos was the 3rd anniversary of our first sponsored Kiddush by Bob and Rosina Korda. We are fortunate to have a small group of perennial sponsors who between them account for 20% of our annual Kiddushim. Carl and Frida Newman are the winners of our frequent L'chaim Award. Whenever we go through a sponsorship dry spell, Carl is always there volunteering to sponsor another Kiddush. Joe Weeder, Leon Katz, and Joel Linderman annually support our festive Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, and Labor Day weekend Kiddushin. Eli Oken and tonight's honorees, George and Grace Fox, are also generous annual supporters. Our vendors, I would like to publicly thank Joe Simon from Ventura Kosher for providing us service and prices that afford us the ability to put a little protein in our cholent, a bissel kishka, and the most beautiful slabs of prime rib for our Simchat Torah luncheon. A special thanks to Le Palais Bakery, Red Trolley, Morgan Linens, F&W Foods, and Shalom & Sons. I'd also like to make a special thanks to my father, Bill Brunel, who over the past 3 years has gone up to Camp Pendleton, the military base, so that we could save 50% on the cost of our brownies, and we've been able to have Duncan Hines brownies every Shabbos. Now I've got to send Dad to Georgia because that's the closest place we can buy part of Duncan Hines brownies. But Dad, thanks for all your effort. To our equipment coordinators, the Drawer Twins, David and Brian, for maximizing every square inch of our tiny kitchen. To Ed Mendelson for arranging for our tables, our chairs, pallet racks, and liquid refreshments from south of the border. To Larry Platt for offering the Kiddush Club a Sefer Torah. And Brian Drawer for offering to build us a stainless steel Aron HaKodesh, approved by the Department of Health. It's Larry. You know I'm not kidding. To our legal department, yes, we do have a legal department. This is a very tough crowd. And since our shul's constitution never contemplated the issues that I must deal with, I have leaned on David Lebo numerous times for his sage advice, and most importantly, to save my tush. To our supreme scheduler, need I say no more, Rebecca, thank you for all that you do. To our Rav Amakshir, I would like to thank our own rabbi, who has ably served as our mashgiach for the past 3 years. Rabbi, I'm finally got around. Here's the key to the kitchen. I forgot to give it to you 3 years ago. To our bosses, while we may not answer to our mashgiach, we do answer to a higher authority, our wives. You can only imagine what Karen, Deborah, and Elisa have to put up with being married to us. Thank you, girls, for your love and patience. We know it's not easy. Last but not least, our real bosses, and that's all of you. Our members and our sponsors often offer good and always well-taken advice on how we can make their simchas more special and more meaningful. To all of you, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for letting us serve you. L'chaim and Ken Yirbu. Thank you.
Congratulations to the Kiddush Club. We are about ready for the main course. You know, when we were planning the banquet, we said, you know, it would be really nice to have a theme night. So we are going to reenact a Young Israel Kiddush. There are 2 tables outside in the hallway, and you're all going to fight over the food. Actually, we just finished the famous Super Tuesday. As you know, George W. Bush won the election, won all the primaries. He's walking through the airport, and he sees a man standing in long, white flowing robes with a long, white beard, with 2 big stone tablets under his arm. And he goes up to him, he says, "Excuse me, aren't you Moses?" No answer from the man. So he turns, he goes right in front of him, he says, "Hey, aren't you Moses?" The man just looks at the ceiling, doesn't answer him. He starts pulling on his robes. He says, "Excuse me, aren't you Moses?" Then the man in an irritated voice says, "Yes, I'm Moses." He says, "So why are you being so mean? Why are you being so uppity?" He says, "Listen, the last time I spoke to a bush, I had to wander for 40 years in the desert." Ladies and gentlemen, don't talk to a bush, talk to the people next to you. Enjoy your main course, B'teavon. We'll see you in the next half. I hope all of you enjoyed your dinner. They tell a story. They tell a story about a journalist who was assigned to the Jerusalem bureau of his newspaper. This journalist who is assigned to the Jerusalem bureau of his newspaper gets an assignment to write a story. He gets an apartment overlooking the Kotel, overlooking the Western Wall. And after several weeks, he realizes that whenever he looks at the wall, he sees this old Jewish man davening and davening and davening. The journalist wondered whether there was really a publishable story here. He goes down to the Kotel, he introduces himself, and he says, "You come every day to the wall. What are you praying for?" The old man says, "What am I praying for? In the morning I pray for world peace. Then I pray for the brotherhood of man. I go home, I have a glass of tea, I come back to the wall to pray for the eradication of illness and diseases from the earth." The journalist is really taken by this old man's sincerity and his persistence. He says, "You mean you've been coming to the wall to pray every day for these things?" The old man shakes his head, "Yes." "How long have you been coming to the wall to pray for these things?" The old man becomes a little reflective, and he thinks, and he says, "How long? Maybe 20 years, 25 years. The amazing journalist finally asked him, how does it feel to come and pray every day for 20 years for all of these things? "How does it feel?" the old man replies. "It feels like I'm talking to a wall." Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to be talking to a wall. We have somebody. For your listening pleasure and enjoyment, our guest entertainment is a multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, and stand-up comedian. He has toured the United States in concert and has appeared numerous times on TV. Please give a warm Young Israel welcome to the one and only David Zaslav.
Mark said, I'm a comedian, musician. I play 14 instruments, and I brought one of my favorite instruments with me tonight. It's good to see your faces. I absorb more of your existences and being. I brought my shofar. Now, I know you know it's very difficult to make a living as a shofar player. It's usually just one gig a year. I play every year. My temple's up at very nice Guardian. We have high holidays up there. It's 2,000 acres of land out of very nice Guardian. It's the most amount of land owned by Jews outside of Israel. I heard it was Plan B. People ask me how I ever get started playing songs, actual music on the shofar. Well, the story is that I went to a friend's house and he had a shofar. And I had never played with him. I picked it up, and the very first song I played was Mary Had a Little Ram. I know something. So I went to join the music union, and they said, "What are you playing?" I said, "The shofar." They said, "What's that?" I said, "It's what blew down the walls of Jericho." Don't you guys read the Bible? There were 12 rabbis going to shofar and a couple of backup singers. The walls came tumbling down. Well, they let me join and took my money, but they never got me a gig. So I'm trying to increase the popularity of the shofar all on my own. So next year, I am recording a Ram Song for Christmas album. I'd also like to do a Ram Song, Broadway tunes on the Ram Song, but tonight I thought I'd play some songs that I'm sure you're familiar with. It's No Mice Stand, apparently that was extra, so I'm going to... and take requests. Actually, I'm in the process of recording. I would like to play for you. People are now calling me the Victor Border of the show floor. I do anything on Mitchell. But what I really want to do is play the telephone. If anybody has any connections, please let me know. I've been doing this for years to do that. So I'd be delighted to be able to participate. I would like to play, maybe you can hold for me now. Because this is tricky. This what I'm about to do is really tricky. Come on. Come on. What's your name? Ron Nagel. Are you famous in this room? Ron Nagel. This is not a magic act. Without money. Most of these people have money. And there are times times, like during sex. During sex, I'm not even thinking about money. But after sex, I like having a little money. And so does she. As much as I love money, I don't like credit cards. And I wasn't going too far. As much as I love money, I don't like credit cards. Because credit cards are the illusion of money. Alright, let's say you buy something on your credit card. You all have credit cards, right? Let's say you buy something on your credit card because you don't have the money. And say you spent maybe $300. So now you owe the bank $300. But when you think about it, this $300 is money that nobody ever had. You didn't have the money. If you had the money, you wouldn't use your credit card. The bank never had the money. Money that nobody ever had. But then the bank takes the money that nobody ever had. And they call it an asset. Now as an asset, the bank can charge you interest on money that nobody ever had. Next, the bank takes the money that nobody ever had, and they loan it to Mexico. So now Mexico has the money that you never had. But they don't have it either, but both you and Mexico are paying the bank interest on money that nobody ever had. So the bank is making a lot of money off money that nobody ever had. The only person with money is the guy who had the idea to give you money he didn't have. He's living in a big house. And he built up the money that nobody ever had. Eventually, you keep spending money that nobody ever had, you'll go bankrupt. But once you go bankrupt, you only have to pay back part of the money that nobody ever had. And as soon as you pay back part of the money that nobody ever had, the bank will give you more money nobody ever had. Because they want money you don't have. Right now, you know the amount of money that nobody ever had is enormous. I would bet all the money I don't have, there isn't enough money printed in the whole world to cover all the money nobody ever had. Most of my money is just money people have. I'm trying to make more money people don't have. That's where the big bucks are. Somebody once said, you want to make a lot of money? Invent a religion. So I did. I invented Zen Judaism. You know, in Zen, the idea is to live in the moment. In Zen Judaism, we want to live in the moment, but there's not enough time. Be here later. I don't expect anybody to join my religion. I just want you to buy the book. The book is called The Complete Book of Everything, Part 1. One of my first jobs when I didn't have any money, when I came to LA, I was doing music. One of my first jobs was I got on a gong show. I went on, I did a jazz scat version of The Flight of a Bumblebee. Want to see it? All right. I got gone. They gave me a year's supply of cough drops. 6 months later, they sent me another year's supply of cough drops. The show was in reruns. I was getting residuals. I also like to stay healthy here in LA, so I got into jogging. Very healthy. But the problem with jogging, I don't know if you know this, the problem with jogging, it doesn't exercise all the muscles of the body. Tai Chi exercises all the muscles of the body, but you don't get to go anywhere. So sometimes I put the two of them together and I do Tai Chi jogging. Alright, I'll show you what it looks like. You start out jogging, then you add a little Tai Chi. And a little facial yoga. Try that in the park. Another reason I came to Los Angeles was love. I love love. I hope everybody's in love. It's so important. You know, they say that you're supposed to learn to love yourself before you can love somebody else. I thought, you know, I could take forever. So I tried loving somebody else before I loved myself. I wound up hating both of us. You're laughing. But then I met someone who told me she loved me just the way I was, you know. It was great. Her loving me gave me the courage I needed to hate myself in front of her. And it worked, so we got married. And marriage taught me the importance of divorce. You know, my first marriage, I didn't really get divorced. My parents, who were my role models, were married 61 years. 61 years my parents were together. In my family, you didn't get divorced. You suffered. You just suffered. Suffered. The one I married taught me that if you didn't like someone, you didn't have to stay with them forever. Once I learned that, it made my second marriage go up. I feel like I'm just going to get to know you folks. Even after 2 divorces, I still want to be in love. So whenever I go out, I'm always looking for love. When my friends come and say, David, when you're looking for love, you won't find it. When you're not looking, you'll find it. All right, so when I go out looking for love, I pretend as if I'm not looking. I just act as if I don't care. Oh, listen, I actually good, don't even talk to me. So I go home alone and I read the personal ads. A personal ad reader out here back there. I notice in the personal ads, almost every other person writes, they want someone who likes walking on the beach. And I'm thinking, if all the people who say they want someone to walk on the beach, if they were actually walking on the beach, why don't they just stay home when they're at the beach? Because they're not walking on the beach, they're home alone. They're waiting for someone to walk on the beach with them. I think you gotta walk the beach by yourself. That when you meet someone you love, you can enjoy being with them, and you can enjoy being with them at the beach. And then when the relationship is over, and they're gone, you've still got the beach. Some ads, it's obvious what people want. One woman wrote she was young, sexy, wild, beautiful. She was looking for an older, generous man, 45 to 60, for possible relationship and shopping. One more ad is, a lot of people say they love living in the moment, which is really impossible because people who are living in the moment don't have time to write ads. They're too busy living in the moment. I love living in the moment. That's why I do comedy. But when I think about it, is comedy really living in the moment? No. Ladies and gentlemen, comedy is not really. Everything I'm saying to you tonight is in the script. I wrote it yesterday. I wrote it a year ago. I edited it. I rehearsed it. I practiced it. I'm acting like I'm living in the moment, right? I'm not really living in the moment. It's not, every word, every gesture is in the script. See this gesture? It's in the script. In the script it says, repeat gesture. Now I'm in the moment. Oh, now I'm in the moment. I'm in the moment. I guess that was my moment. I have to leave. Thank you very much. I enjoyed being here.
How to record sound with your video in DaVinci. To record sound with your video, click Options in the toolbar and go to the Audio tab. Select the checkbox that says the devices you want recorded.
He's taking over for Shimon Kraft.
Click OK to apply your choices. Click Record to start recording your video with the new audio options. Continue watching for additional details on recording sound
Planning a beautiful
with your
banquet
video.
like this evening takes a lot of work and effort.
Audio options can be opened by selecting audio settings from the tools menu.
Of our shul administrator, Ms.
Place the
Rebecca
checkbox
Jalali.
next to the options that you would
Thank
like
you,
to
Rebecca.
be recorded.
You're the best.
You can record from a microphone, from speakers, your mouse
now
clicks,
gives me
or any combination
great
of these
pleasure
options. Select your microphone or
call
speakers that
upon
you want
the
recorded from a
beautiful
drop-down
and
list
charming
next to each
Felicia
item.
and Nessia Gottlieb
Click
to
on the
make a
System
beautiful
Mixer
presentation
button
to their parents.
to modify the settings of the
Felicia and
selected
Nessia.
recording device. Click on the Sound Mixer button to modify your speaker volume. In the speaker drop-down list,
When we first
you can
found
select
out
either
that our
Filter
parents would
Driver
be honored by
or
Young
MM
Israel
device.
Century City, we
Filter
began to
Driver
think of
will
the
record the
things
system
we have
audio.
to say about our parents.
To record from
The
another
list
application,
grew and
debut
grew
must be
and
launched
grew.
before the other
But
application.
then, as we were reading
For example,
the
to record
list
from
over,
a media player,
we realized
first
that we
launch
should only
debut
talk about the
and then the
positive
player.
things.
MM device will
We're
use the
therefore
Windows
forced
interface
to keep
to
our
capture
comments
audio
very
from other
brief.
applications. To
Our
record
parents
sound
have
from an
devoted many
application
long
that
and
has
tedious
administrator
hours to young
privileges,
Israel.
debut
Young
must be
Israel has
started
always
with
been
administrator
a major
privileges.
part in our
When
parents'
mouse
lives.
clicks is
They are
selected,
both
a
wonderful
mouse click
people
sound
whose
will
honesty
record
and care
when your
help
mouse
them
is
to
clicked.
spread their concern,
This option is
passion,
only available for
excitement,
screen
and
capture
expertise
recordings.
in everything they do.
For more
They have
debut
been incredible role
tutorials,
models and have always
visit the
set high
address
standards and
shown
exemplary behavior for us.
on your
4
screen.
kids, 6 cats, 1 dog, and revolving front door, which all make up quite a busy household. There's always been excitement, wonder, fun, and flying things. We've had an incredible childhood full of love, affection, and support.
We've been exceptionally lucky to have these great parents. They have a deep love for each other and have been our guiding lights. They weren't even born in this country. We're first-generation Americans, you know. But for immigrants, they made us quite proud. Our father's gentle work is smile-worthy. Our mother's creative talents are incredible. So how could we be anything but proud and honored? We have a hard act to follow. We'll do our best to make you proud. Mommy and Abba, kudos to you on your very special evening. We're so happy to be your daughters.
How to record sound with your video in debut. To record sound with your video, click Options on the toolbar and go to the Audio tab. Select the checkbox next to the devices you want recorded. Click OK to apply your choices. Click Record
Thank you
to
so
start
much,
recording
Felicia, and
your
that's
video
excellent.
with the new
Excellent.
audio options.
I would bet that
Continue
virtually all of
watching
you
for
here
additional
tonight
details on
know Emmy
recording
Gottlieb very
sound
well.
with your video.
But when the group is so large,
Audio options
occurred
can
to
be
us that there
opened
might
by
be
selecting
one or
audio
two of
settings
you
from the Tools menu.
who don't really know
Place
him.
a checkbox next to the
So
options
for the
that you would
benefit
like
of
to be
those one
recorded.
or two,
You can
please
record
direct
from a
your attention
microphone,
to the video
from
screen
speakers,
to gain an
your mouse
insight
clicks,
into our
or
honoree.
any combination of these options. Select your microphone or speakers that you want recorded from the drop-down list next to each item. Click on the System Mixer button to modify the settings of the selected recording device. Click on the Sound Mixer button to modify your speaker volume. In the speaker drop-down list, you can select either filter
I think I had good role models in terms of my own dentist, and it was probably that root canal that I had when I was in pain all weekend. That probably really made me decide that dentistry was it for me.
No, it's not safe. It's very dangerous. Be careful. Relax. Come on. Open. Oh, okay. Okay.
That hurt? Uh-huh. No, I should think it would. Should take better care of your teeth. You have quite a cavity here. Is it safe?
Look, I tell you, I can't do it.
Life can be that simple. Relief, discomfort.
When Emmy came home after his first day of work as a real dentist, he was just really excited. He loved it.
You'll be a dentist. You have a talent for causing things. Some be a dentist. People will pay you to be inhumane.
Oh, that hurts! Wait, I'm not numb!
Shut up. Open wide. Here I come. I am your your dentist, and I enjoy the career that I picked. I'm your dentist, and I get off on the pain I inflict. I thrill when I drill a bicuspid. It's swell, though they tell me I'm maladjusted. And though it may cause my patients distress, somewhere in heaven above me, I know that my mama's proud of me. Oh, mama? 'Cause I'm a dentist and a sick soul. Say ah. Say ah. Say ah. Now spit.
Well, everyone presents a challenge to a certain extent. That's just part of what I do, for a living.
I can't find his mouth. Hand me that stethoscope, will you? Thanks. Will you say ah, please? Ah. Again? Ah. Again? Ah. I almost had it. Again? Ah. Ha. Ah. Oh. Ah. 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 There it is. Ah. And a very pretty thing, too.
What makes me stand out as a dentist? We try to do whatever we can to make patients comfortable.
Doctor, if it's going to hurt, please give me something to kill the pain.
Yeah, okay, well, got some Novocaine right here. Just, hold on a minute, let's see how this works here. Okay, Novocaine. Here we are, Novocaine. Take a firm hold of the hypodermic needle, right. There'll be a little bit of pain, and then numbness will set in. Well, I guess we'll get right to it. I'll just give you a little shot here. Yeah, I'll be right with you.
light. Sorry, I didn't, just... Oh, well, now that'll be $20.
This little kid actually bit my finger, so it was the first and last time anyone's ever done that. I've learned to be really quick and on my toes.
Now, let me see. Oh, I guess I can use these. A couple of pair of pliers. Oh, yes, and I think I better use the heavy one on those stubborn teeth.
Oh, Doctor, I've got those things that you sent for.
Oh, fine, fine. Now, let's see.
Gee, what are they? Oh, my, this isn't very sharp.
Oh, that's good enough. That'll be all right.
Well, what you don't do is that?
Fortunately, I was not in the room. There was some kind of a malfunction with the chair, and it seemed to go back and forth. And I had a male assistant in there at the time, and anyway, I don't want to go. Can we skip this one? I don't like to blow my horn, my own horn on that.
I really like working in the office here. It gives me a reason to get dressed twice a week. And he's a great boss, and the truth is, the perks are great. You know, I mean, when you sleep with a boss, you can really do whatever you want. The truth is, the perks are great. You know, I mean, when you sleep with a boss, you can really do whatever you want. All right, I want to re-say that one. I want to re-answer that question. Okay, what was the question again?
Where am I? What are you doing down there? What happened?
Nothing yet.
Oh! Hey, look! You knocked my tooth out.
Good. Now maybe we can get some sleep.
Good night.
Good night.
Our Rav has taught us to be involved in our community at large, not to just make Shabbos for ourselves, so to speak, but to make an impact on others outside of our community, to Jews on the right, to Jews on the left, and to non-Jews as well. His tremendous involvement in the community, his caring for the poor, the sick, the widows, and the orphans, are all shining examples of the path in which each and every one of us must follow. His leadership in the shul, in every aspect of our congregation, whether administration, public relations, programming, and fundraising, has made our shul one that is the envy of congregations nationwide. His dedication to his rabbanit and family, despite the numerous commitments he has, is a pleasure to behold. And most of all, he is a friend to each and every one of us. He approaches one and all with a smile, with humor, and with a "how are you doing?" We are blessed, truly blessed. To present this year's Tribute Award, it is my pleasure and honor to present to you, Freudian slip, our Morid Asra, Rabbi Elazar Muskin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark. Our honorees, my dentist, ladies and gentlemen. Inspiration comes from many sources. Many of you know that for many years, I was inspired to tell you stories from my barber, Anthony Leone. Many a drasha you have heard with his name attached to the opening story. Over the past number of months, inspiration has come from a different source. Now my new inspiration comes from my dental hygienist, Deborah. Deborah works at Dr. Emmy's office. You've heard of Deborah. Those who daven with us on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. One of the stories I told you was from Deborah's insight into life. The following occurred about 3 weeks ago when I visited my dentist. Deborah was cleaning my teeth. Deborah and I have become very good friends. Deborah obliges by telling me insightful comments that I can share with you. Well, a few weeks ago, she told me the following story that occurred in her church. The pastor was having problems fundraising for his church. So he decided one Sunday that he was going to do the following. He was going to encourage his members to give a little more to the plate. And so before they sent out the collection plate through the church, he said, whoever gives the most this morning will be able to choose the hymns in the church this morning. They started sending out the plate, she told me. And Deborah says there was one lady who was so moved by this possibility that she placed into the collection plate a $1,000 bill. When finally the plate came forward to the pastor saw the $1,000 bill. He became so excited and he started to choke from excitement. And he said, please, whoever this person is, would he or she please come forward to the front of the church so we can recognize and thank that person. And slowly a little old lady started march towards the front of the church. And after praising her and thanking her and giving her a thanks on behalf of the entire congregation for such a generous gift that Sunday morning in the church, the pastor kept his promise. He says, and which hymns do you like? And she said, him, him, and him. This evening, I think that we can all point to the middle table and say, we like them. We like Emmy. We like Jenny. And there's good reason for it. There's a lot of good reason for it. In the portion of the week that we just concluded, Parshat Pekudei, the Torah reviewed the entire construction of the Mishkan for us. As a wrap-up to the story, the Torah tells us that the children of Israel listened to Moses in everything he instructed. Every word he said, they followed carefully. And then the Torah states the following. Kain asu b'nei Yisrael es kol ha'avodah. So the children of Israel did all the work. The next verse. Vayar Moshe es kol ha'melacha. And Moshe saw all the labor. Now all of us who know Hebrew realize that the Torah is using two words for the same activity. Avodah and melacha mean work. Why would the Torah juxtaposition two words meaning the same thing, one next to the other? And the great 19th century rabbinic thinker, the Khatam Sofer, suggests that the two words for work, avodah and melacha, do not mean the same in Hebrew. Melacha, the Khatam Sofer explains, is the creativity of our hands. It's what we're able to produce with our minds. When we put our brains to work and we become creative human beings, we perform melacha. And that's why the halacha calls the work on Shabbat, which is prohibited to us, melechet machshevet. It's thought out. It's premeditated. It's the creativity of the brain using its hands. I think that you'll all agree that if there's any one feature, one characteristic that makes our honorees, Emmy and Jenny, unique in their own league, It's their creativity. They are blessed with tremendous intellects. And they use their intellects in the most creative of fashions. Love for the aesthetic is part and parcel of their being. Beauty, it means a lot to both of them. But beauty not for the sake of beauty. It's not an end-all. It's beauty to make the world better. So what does that mean? It means that Jenny comes running to all of her friends when they ask her for her creative input in making their homes beautiful. She has impeccable taste. She shares it with everyone. It means opening your home as her daughters described it. I've been in the Gottlieb home, Lewcowicz home, many a time. Jenny and Emmy have opened it up because they hold fundraisers for tzedakot, for different charities. It's using their beauty to enhance the world around them. Jenny is able to sew with her hands beautiful costumes for children's plays. She's able to bake. Her cooking is the talk of town. She's able to use that creativity in ways beyond my imagination. But it's all used l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven. Our kihila, our community, has been blessed with their leadership. When we were building our shul and doing the renovation just a few years ago, they both sat on the committee. The impeccable and beautiful taste that our shul represents and that we all enjoy in a large measure is due to them. I still remember, however, one personal story. It happened almost 13 years ago. My wife, Ruchama, was expecting our Bechorah. As you all remember, when Gila was coming into this world, if you will, Ruchama had a difficult pregnancy. 6 months preterm labor, 6 months confined in bed. It was worth it, but it was hard. Jenny came over on more than one occasion, brought carry-out from restaurants, set up the room to make Ruchama feel at home. It was a beautiful sight to be seen. It's something I won't forget. Perhaps, however, their true secret of beauty, of melacha, of melechet machshevet, comes in their family. The family means not something to Jenny and to Emmy. It means everything. It means parents. It means sisters. It means brothers. It means the children. It means the entire mishpacha and cousins included. Blood runs thick in the Gottlieb and Lewcowicz homes because it's malacha that is being used. It's a creative bond of human beings. But then the Chatam Sofer tells us there's another word. It's not enough to be just creative with your brain and your hand. Then there's avoda. This he translates to mean the effort and the motivation of the heart. It's the commitment that comes from the heart. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Emmy as a president of our shul. I want to share with you a little secret. It's a rabbi's blessing. And I've been blessed over and over and over again in my tenure at Young Israel to have wonderful presidents. Presidents that make it a machaya being a rabbi. Emmy, you were just like that. It was a true pleasure, a delight being your rabbi and you being the president. When a rabbi and a president work well together, that means you get to know each other pretty well because you're constantly on the phone. You're constantly working on programs. You're worrying about everything that deals with the shul and community at large. I found a unique human being in Emmy. You see, he works by avoda. His commitment is from the heart. It means that whenever there was a possibility of a machlokes within our community, Emmy didn't allow it to occur. Emmy believes in shalom. He believes in people working together and working all of their problems out together. And he succeeded, and I don't remember one time in his tenure that there was a confrontation. Confrontation wasn't his approach. It was the avoda of the lave. It was the heart beating hard to make sure that everything works beautifully. It's not surprising to me that it's not only our shul and our community that have benefited from his leadership and his wisdom. His colleagues elected him years ago their president in the the Jewish Dental Fraternal Society here in Los Angeles. They respect him as a doctor, as a dentist. They trust his avoda, his commitment of the heart. It's therefore really a pleasure that our shul has chosen for tonight, the year 5760, the year 2000, to bestow our shul's tribute, our tribute award upon a very special couple, a couple that we really do love. And therefore I ask, if you will, Emmy, Jenny, would you please come forward to receive a very special gift? It's my pleasure at this time to call upon two couples who've helped make this banquet a big success, who also are neighbors of Emmy and Jenny, who've helped turn the Roxbury into an annex of Young Israel of Century City. Can I please call upon the Jonas and Carrie Hanlon and Dr. Sandy and Frida Small to make the presentation of the gift.
Good evening. On this special evening, as we publicly salute Emmy and Jenny for all of their efforts on behalf of our shul and community, we felt that our presentation should reflect our gratitude for everything that they have accomplished. In Jewish tradition, one of the most beautiful moments of pageantry is the Havdalah service, observed every Saturday night as the Shabbos comes to a close. During the Havdalah service, a spice box is lifted and a blessing is recited over the sweet aroma of the bisamim, hoping that the week ahead will be marked with the beauty of life.
We have chosen as our gift a beautiful bisamim box, fashioned like a tower, reminding us of the Tower of David in Jerusalem. This spice box represents our wishes that Emmy and Jenny's life should be blessed with the aroma of bisamim, and may they continue to enhance our community with their creativity. The inscription on the gift reads, Young Israel Century City Tribute Award, presented to Dr. Emmanuel Gottlieb and Jenny Lewcowicz, March 12, 2000, 5th of Adar, Bet, 5760, Elazar R. Muskin Rabbi, Alan Schoenfeld President. Congratulations.
Thank you, neighbors. That's basically our committee, along with Alan, our other neighbors, Howard and Elaine Lefkowitz. And this is truly a simcha for us. From the bottom of our hearts, Jenny and I want to thank you for coming to our daughter Neely's bat mitzvah, and to Young Israel of Century City for making it all possible.
Emmy, this is not Neely's bat mitzvah. That's still 6 months off. This is our shul's banquet.
But it's such a beautiful party. No rubber chicken. It's entertaining, gorgeous centerpieces, and fabulous party favors.
Which, I might add, are the perfect accessory for you men when you're busy barefoot in the kitchen helping out.
Oh yeah, speaking from personal experience, donning an apron really does the trick.
Stay focused, Emmy.
We are truly honored by your presence here this evening. We are both more comfortable out of the limelight than up here, subjects of embarrassing but funny videos. However, putting things in proper perspective, we fully understand that the honor goes to the institution, the one we affectionately call YICC.
We want to thank our co-honorees, Mayor Brunel, Bart Littman, and David Sokol, along with George and Grace Fox, for their contribution to our community.
The Kiddush Club has added an invaluable dimension to our shul experience, providing an opportunity for our members to get to know one another. It has given our shul soul, along with soul food.
We thank all the volunteers who assist in the production of the weekly Kiddush. Freddie and Romero, your efforts are truly appreciated, and we thank you for sharing in this celebration.
We all know this can't happen without guidance. Every successful organization needs strong leadership, and we are fortunate to have Rabbi Muskin at the helm. He is our CEO, COO, and CRO, that's Chief Religious Officer. Rebecca, your dedication helps make it all happen. To our President, Alan Schoenfeld, I want to take this opportunity to apologize publicly for telling or soft-selling what an easy job shul president is. Our shul has flourished under the tenure of yourself, Chairman of the Board Howard Lewcowicz, and all the officers and board members who graciously volunteer their time. Mark and Debbie Goldenberg, what can we say? Your love for our shul knows no bounds.
At this time, we'd like to acknowledge our family for providing us with the unconditional love, support, and understanding of all our endeavors. To our children, Felice, Nessia, Neely, and Blima, thank you for understanding when things get hectic. You know that you are always number one on our list. To our dads, may you shep nachas for many years to come. And to our mothers, who we know are watching over us, thank you for providing us with the homes that taught us right from wrong. The Holocaust deprived both of us of families that could have been, so we are ever so grateful for the family that could have come here tonight to celebrate with us.
If we left anyone out, it was unintentional. We felt that the best way to honor our guests is to keep our comments brief and to allow you to go home at a decent hour. So enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you for coming and showing support to Young Israel of Century City. Thank you.
Mazel tov, Emmy and Jenny.
Hi, Mommy Nava. Congratulations. We love you very much.